Forecast.
Hey guys, this is a weekly forecast for March 15th through the 19th of 2021. Okay, we'll start off with the Usdjpy pair. Now this is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. Alright, so ultimately we're targeting this 101 pivot low. But before that, we were talking about the pullback to 107, then to 109, and that 109 target was hit last week. Now at this point, we are short bias in the long term down to 101. However, due to the strong momentum and this long move, in the medium term, we are neutral bias. Okay, so let's talk entries. Okay, we'll stay on the monthly chart. Okay, at this point, what we want is for this trend line from this pivot to this pivot to get respected with compact price action. Okay, now this compact price action could be on the 4-hour or daily chart. It just has to be on this monthly trend line level. So for example, go down to a daily chart. That monthly trendline level will generally be in this area. So on the daily chart, we want price action like this. Very compact and respecting that monthly trendline level. Okay. Now one other thing we want to start looking for is, let me take you to the weekly chart. Okay. So since this weekly long move was originally based on this weekly long trade to begin with, we're going to want to see some weakness on the weekly chart. Now at the basic level, we simply want to see at least 2 red candles forming, okay, indicating some strength down on the weekly chart. So either way, to trade with that long-term short bias to 101 is going to take some time to develop. Alright, now let me just show you the targets we'll be looking for if this short trade forms. So we'll go back to the monthly chart. The first target will be right here at this gap level at 108. The second target is at this 104 level. Then we want to get through this upward trend line right down to 101. Okay, so I'll keep you guys updated on the midweek analysis with the price action on this pair. Okay, so let's keep going to the Nzdusd USD pair. Oh, and please subscribe if you like these videos, and please press the like button. It will really help me out, guys. Thank you. Okay, so the Nzdusd USD. This is a weekly chart. We'll start off with an overview. Alright, so this move up, starting from this range, was solely based on momentum. Thus, in the long term, we're looking for a short right back down to this pivot low. However, in the short term, due to recent price action, there is still some momentum long left in this move. Thus, in the short term, we're long biased right back up to this pivot high. Okay, so long term we are short biased to this pivot low. Short term we're long biased to this pivot high. Alright, so let's talk entries. Alright, so this is a daily chart. Last week we were talking about these 2 trend lines from this pivot to this pivot. And this pivot to this pivot. Now we wanted some compact price action to be respected at these 2 trend lines. Now at this point, this trend line up here has been broken out, so this is obsolete. However, this bottom trend line has been respected. Now what we're looking for again is for price to respect this with compact price action. Again, this could be on the lower time frames, the 4-hour and 1-hour charts. It just has to be on this daily trend line level. Okay? Then possibly they'll give us a move right up to this pivot high as a target. But last week I was also talking about the possibility, due to recent price action, that price can just jet straight up here and hit that pivot high target without that compact price action. Now let me bring you over to the 4-hour chart to explain this. Okay, so on the 4-hour chart, the last long trade was right here. Now that stop loss hasn't been hit yet, just by a couple of pips. Thus, if this stop loss does not get hit, then price will not make that compact price action and go directly to that pivot high as a target. Okay, so let's go on to the pound dollar. Oh, and I just put out lesson 9 of my price action trading course. It's on how to find legitimate double tops and bottoms. I basically explain the process of how to locate fake and legitimate patterns. So if you have time, please check that out. Okay, the pound dollar. This is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. Okay, so there was a weak double bottom right here. However, weak double bottoms typically do not go its target height. So its target height being roughly around here. So we are long biased in the medium term, right around this area where that target height area is. But from then on, we are short biased in the long term, right back down to this pivot low. Alright, so let's talk entries. Okay, this is a daily chart. Okay, last week there was a long trade that formed right here. And I'm sure it will reach this pivot high level right here. However, this is not strong enough for us to take to this major pivot high. Thus, we're waiting for a pullback right back to these trend lines. So from this pivot to this pivot, and have price pull right back down there to give us compact price action. Again, this could be on the 4-hour or 1-hour chart, but it has to be on this daily trend line. Okay, so ideally we want price to go up and stop out this pivot high right here, but then pull back down so we could get some compact price action on this trend line to target that daily pivot high as the first target. Okay, so let's go on to the Euro USD. Alright, this is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. Okay, because of this trend line from this pivot to this pivot was broken out roughly 7-8 months ago right here. In the medium term, we are long bias until this pivot high right here. However, due to recent price action, we are short bias on the short term, right back down to this pivot low. Okay, so medium term, we are long bias to this pivot high. Short term, we are short bias to this pivot low. Alright, let's talk entries. Alright, this is a weekly chart. Let me just explain the current setup we're looking at. Okay, this short trade was stronger than this long trade. Thus, as price pulled back, we were looking for short entries, right back down to that pivot low. Now that target was hit already, and now price is repeating the same thing. Thus, this week, a week long trade formed in comparison to this short trade. Thus, if we get a pullback up, we are looking for short trades, right back down to this new pivot low. Okay, now in the medium term, we are targeting this pivot high, and a level that price could possibly bounce is this level right here. So we want to draw a trend line from this pivot to this pivot. So if price gets to this trend line right here, again, we'll be looking for that compact price action. Again, on the lower time frames too, to target in the medium term, this pivot high. Alrighty. Okay, so let's go on to the Aussie NZD pair. Alright, this is a monthly chart. We'll start off with an overview. Alright, so this is a normal double bottom against a weak downward trend line. So in the long term, we were long biased right up to this trend line right here, or possibly this pivot high. However, in the short term, because of recent price action being very strong short, we are short biased right down to this pivot low right here. Okay, so long term, we're long bias up to these levels here. Short term, we're short bias right down to this pivot right here. Okay, so let's talk entries. Okay, this is a weekly chart. Now we were talking about price being in a range with these two gap levels right here, right here. So basically price is in a range. However, in the short term, we are short bias, so we are only taking short trades with our first target being this pivot low right here, and our main aggressive target being this pivot low right here. Again, these gap levels are created with the bottom end being several gaps. Okay, so we have this gap here, we have another one here, another one here, and another one here. So this is making the bottom end of this range. Now the top end of this range, we want to zoom out and scroll back and zoom back in actually. And the top end of that range is made with this gap right here. Okay, so this bottom gap level is making the top of that range. Okay, so what we're looking for, let's take you back to the daily chart. Since we are short bias, we're looking for trades down on the daily chart. Okay, so if a strong short trade forms on this upper part of that range, we want to take that right back down with the first target being this pivot low and our aggressive target being this pivot low. Okay, all right, that's it for the weekly forecast. I hope you guys have a great week. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye.